Okay, so let's mention a few things about visualization. Now, this is above and beyond the engineering drawing capabilities of SolidWorks. So we're not talking about your standard 2D engineering drawing, which we'll be talking about plenty here in upcoming video lectures. But just simply the ability to look at a 3D rendering of the model. Now, of course, you're doing this all the time by default in SolidWorks as what's known commonly as a pictorial. Okay? And that is a reasonably simplified representation that gives you the all the benefits of a 3D representation, without the overhead of a very realistic picture on the screen, if you will. And by now you know that you can control whether you can or whether you wish to display the edges or not, or a wireframe model, with solid or rather hidden lines versus no hidden lines, etc. Okay, so yeah, I'm not talking about any of that, but even taking that as the starting point. So the very first thing that you can do, as you see here, is apply a first layer of photorealism there, where you can show shadows, you can show reflections. You can certainly apply different materials, so that in itself, will give you different colors. You can also directly control the colors of the objects. You can also, on top of the colors, control the texture of the objects. So that would give you different levels of realism in there that you can apply. Okay, so for example, in the wheels in this prototype in there, you can apply rubber as the material, and you would get that black textured rubber feel to it. So as I say, that's just one layer, if you will. Okay, and here's another example. These are drawn from our senior design classes here at UT Arlington. Now you can also create exploded assemblies. Now we will look at the concept of an exploded assembly in the context of an engineering drawing. Okay, this is again just from the visualization standpoint. Okay, so you can see the benefit of doing something like this, and you can apply again different layers of realism to the exploded assembly to make it more impactful to the viewer. Okay. Now you can also do selective hiding of components. You can control the transparency of the components, and you can do very compelling cutaway views in here to show how parts operate internally. So you can imagine the tremendous advantage of being able to do this, without really having to do any extra work. You start, from your completed model, and then just very easily define cutaway planes, or simply pick off parts that you wish to turn on and off, or apply transparency to. Okay, and then on top of that, you can layer a photorealistic rendering to the components, as we have discussed. Okay, there's also some other interesting features. This illustrates the concept of the so-called decal. Okay, so for example, the grille for this vehicle was more expedient, to be created as a decal, which is basically a 2D image that gets superimposed on a 3D component, and it can even wrap around an organic surface, wrap around a curvy surface, if you will. In this case, it's just on a flat. But look how effectively it can represent, that particular feature with very little overhead relative to literally having to build that particular geometry, in this case for the grille. Okay, now at some point we go to an advanced layer of photo rendering. Okay, and what these packages can do at this level is truly stunning, and only getting better. I mean, there's some pictures in here that are generated that you really have to look in very careful detail to decide whether it's a picture of the actual device, or whether it's just a computer generated rendering. If anything, the only thing that would give it away is just the realism of it. But even for that, they can create some fadings, control the textures and the colors and the lighting, to even make it more realistic, as in the sense of not as perfect as the computer can in principle generate. Okay, now you can see here photorealism probably at its very best. All these ray tracing techniques that incorporate different lighting sources, physically correct reflections, mirroring from the various images, facets, surfaces, etc. So again, you can look at a picture, like the one on the bottom right, and the only thing that would lead you to believe that it's not a computer generated drawing or rendering rather, is that perhaps it looks too real. Okay. Another thing quickly here to touch on is the concept of the portable viewers. Okay, so there is such a thing as giving the ability to, say, for instance, a customer to view your 3D models without having to install a full app version of SolidWorks or CATIA or Inventor or whatever it is you might be using. Okay, so eDrawings is one of the better ones or the better known ones in the market, compatible with SolidWorks, and it's downloadable for free. So you can take your models, send them to a potential customer or supplier, and they can interrogate the model, spin it around, look at even the elements of the feature tree, take measurements, things of this nature, without having access to your geometry, without being able to modify it in effect. Okay? And there is a second piece of software that is also a competitor in this arena, which is from Acrobat, the 3D PDF format. Okay, and with 3D PDF, you're able to embed within a PDF document models that you can control dynamically. We can open this with the Acrobat Reader. Now, this could be just a standard PDF document, but the beauty of this is that you can now control dynamically the contents of the model within the PDF and be able to look at things in quite a bit of detail here without leaving the PDF arena. Okay, so this is the other common format that you might choose to share your designs with another member of the team, or that doesn't have the software available, or a customer somewhere else, somebody in your supply chain, machinist, perhaps a fabricator, etc. So hopefully this has given you a sense. Of course, we haven't talked about how to do any of this. It's easy enough to figure out. Once you have the model, you can access these additional capabilities rather easily. So I'll leave that for you to find out, but at least you are in some sense aware of what's all possible within this area.